Hello, Fearless Gamers, and welcome to another podcast here on Fearless Games. I'm Matt the Vet, and today I'm joined by...
James the Wildcard.
Welcome back.
What's up?
Happy Halloween.
Yes, happy Halloween.
Did you do anything festive for the occasion?
No.
No?
No.
You didn't go make some power armor and go trick-or-treating?
Nah, I didn't have the time to make the power armor.
You didn't have the time? That's what the Mechanicum is for.
It's true, but they're so far away.
They're not that far. They're only on Mars.
Yeah, but the delivery times...
You get overnight.
Get overnight. You know how much that costs?
Not that much. Probably cheaper than UPS if you go with U.S. Postal.
Maybe.
Keep pulling on the microphone because the wire is right there. So, what's new?
Not much is new. I've been watching just a lot of playthroughs of old video games that I grew up with. Like Mega Man series and Sonic and things like that. And
cool.
And it led me to this conclusion that I remember, but since I haven't played platformers in a while and I haven't played games like Ocarina of Time in a while, I forgot how much that the water levels are my least favorite levels in any game when you're forced to be in the water, because either you move too slow, or you have to constantly button mash to go quick, or you just, because the way you're used to the character reacting, jumping or whatnot, totally changes in the water level, which is understandable. You're underwater. Either you don't jump far and you have to constantly button mash to swim, quote unquote, or you jump too far and you don't know what's going on. And I don't know, it just seems like every water level I've been in, and not just platformers, games like Ocarina of Time included, like the water temple, I hated that temple.
That's like the hardest temple in Ocarina of Time.
I just feel like water levels are made unnecessarily tedious. And in Sonic, because you have to constantly get the air, it's also stressful because that drowning music was terrifying. Yeah. It's terrifying drowning music. And then if you don't do it, he doesn't just die. There's a drowning animation. It's like, no, he actually drowned.
Speaking of video games, did you hear what's going on with Xbox One and PS4?
I haven't given any sorts of caring because I'm not paying attention to them at all. They're coming. I won't get one for a while.
Apparently, the new Call of Duty Ghost will run at 1080p on the PS4 version, but not on the Xbox One version. The decision was made by the developers in order to ensure that both versions of the game would run at 60 frames per second.
Right. The whole 1080 and 720, whatever it is, all those different, frames and things, I honestly can't tell a difference.
Most people can't.
The only time I was able to tell a difference with YouTube videos like that is going from 720 to now with, GoPro cameras, you can upload in 4K. And when you upload in 4K, or when you watch it in 4K, yeah, there's a difference. But...
The reason mostly for the not seeing the difference on the YouTubes and such is the only real time you see the difference between 720p and 1080p is when you're on a TV screen larger than 32 inches.
Well, that's what I mean.
That's why most 32 inches don't make them 1080p, because there's no difference on that size or smaller.
Well, that's what I mean. I've seen on TV, on big things, different, I don't see it. Once it gets into HD territory, it's all the same to me until you get into Cinema 4K, but that's just ridiculous because it's Cinema 4K. So, other than that, 720, 1080, I guess the only thing that the PS4 fanatics can take is bragging rights saying that it's more powerful because it can handle that and still do 60 frames.
Yeah,
that's about it. Nobody should be complaining about. You're not gonna notice your character dying and getting teabagged any better clarity on with that.
One thing, speaking of that, I've been a little down lately with the video game world because sadly the Wii U is not doing too well, and me and all other Wii U owners are kind of suffering for it. A good example is the new Assassin's Creed came out. Well, almost every retailer except for GameStop decided not to carry the Wii U version, but only carry the Xbox, the PS3, the PS4, and the Xbox One when they come out.
Well,
so we poor Wii U users have to, like, hunt down a GameStop that decide to get more than one copy of the game.
It is unfortunate that, you know, not all platforms, and to be honest, that's how I felt for the longest time when there was a big change to console gaming and PC stuff got shut out. Like I remember when things like GameStop used to have a whole PC section, and you walk in there now and it's like, here's a joystick maybe, but
just like that.
Yeah, but at the same time, Nintendo really has. I love Nintendo. I understand what the Wii and the Wii U and all. I understand what they're doing, but at the same time, they got to step it up. They got to. Because they're not in the same category, and they never were from the Wii up as PlayStation and Xbox. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. They were the, hey, let's just have some fun, you know?
Yeah.
They weren't where PlayStation and Xbox. They're entertainment platforms. They're not just gaming. People use them for social media. People use them for internet surfing. People use them for the home entertainment theater. So. Yeah. And the Wii and the Wii U is more like, we're really tiny. You can take us, you know, it's great. I mean, I love Nintendo for that aspect of just being like, let's just have some fun in game. But the unfortunate thing is, aside from doing that, the games that sell are the ones that you can't find, like the Battlefields and everything like that. Are not gonna, and Wii U just doesn't have it. Like,
well, it's not that Wii U doesn't have it.
Well, they might as well not have it because you can't find it.
Because retail stores refuse to carry it. Like the new Call of Duty, I was looking in the back at our stuff, I saw the shipment. We had like 50 copies of the Xbox One, the Xbox, the PlayStation, and 3 copies for the Wii.
Well, it's not even worth it, in all honesty. If you look at just why does that game sell? Call of Duties, what are they selling for? It's certainly not the story. It's for that online play. I'm not saying Wii U doesn't have any. I'm just saying you're going to find vast more amounts of it from the other two.
And the issue with that is because no one gives it a shot, in a sense. Because if you think about it, like let's just go with your whole online thing, okay? Let's just say, okay, Xbox has 5 games that have online play. So their online lounges tend to range from 3,000 to 4,000 people. Wii U only has 1 game, which is, let's just, for Call of Duty's sake, and so they only have 1,000 people. And then they're sitting there going, well, we won't sell the games until that number increases. Well, that number can increase until Nintendo gets more games with online play on them.
Well, they are caught in a weird loop, but, I mean, it's just, look at it this way. I mean, you got a whole bunch of, and I'm not saying it's because it's subscription-based, but that does tend to help people go, well, I'm already subscribed to Xbox Live, let me get it for Xbox Live. It's not just that, but it's also the fact that they're not, like, the Wii U is nowhere in the same category for online play, and it's unfortunate, but it's not, in comparison to everything that Xbox and the PlayStation offers, and it's partly because the Wii U is just not in the same category to compete with them. And partly because people don't want to try on the Wii U. But also, I think and Nintendo is missing out on, is the market for, like, now granted, you know, Sonic Team sells to everybody. And, like, they have their Mario, obviously, and Capcom just put a nail in Mega Man's coffin, so who knows what's going on with that.
Well, we're going to be getting the new Mega Man
Well, that's
game
not
now.
really a Mega Man game. But
it's a Mega Man.
It's not
game.
Mega Man. It plays like it. I'm excited for it, but I love the characters and the story of Mega Man, and I hope that this one is the same. But, like, I hope I enjoy it, like, the character that much. I hope he's not too much of, like, the new era, look at me, I'm going to be indecisive and everything about stuff. But then there's also Metroid. If Nintendo hit it hard with, like, here's all this really cool, fun gaming stuff that kind of already has a name out there, that might help them a bit. But, you know, Because let's face it, if I'm not looking at them for Call of Duty, I'm not looking at them for some other multi-platform, but I sure as heck would be looking at them for, like, obviously Mario, that's their guy. But, you know, like Zelda, things like, they gotta, you know, maybe
they do need to
characters.
throw out the characters that they have to generate sales.
Especially like Metroid. What happened to Metroid?
Other M happened.
I don't want to hear about
That's what happened.
But see, the one thing that Capcom kind of did okay with Mega Man, but they tried. Like they had great like theories that they put out for a game, and that was it. And then they kill everything because they're Capcom.
But that was the main. From my understanding, the guy who was running it decided to leave, and he went, "Hey, you know, I'm gonna leave, but I'll stay and finish Mega Man before I leave." And they went, "No, we're just gonna dump the project."
Well, yeah. Well, for example, Mega Man Maverick Hunter X was a PSP thing, which why I never got into it. I never owned a PSP. I never wanted a PSP. I don't know if
no one wants a PSP. Not even the people who make PSP.
I don't know if
or Vita.
Yeah, I don't know if Maverick Hunter X is a PlayStation Network game you can play on the PS3 now. I have no idea. But
possible.
Maverick Hunter X was Mega Man X1, the first Mega Man X game, redone with updated graphics and everything.
Yep.
And
it had a cool anime video of what happened before.
It had a cool, like, almost half-an-hour anime, like, plot thing to kind of describe what happened before Mega Man X. And
which, if you listened, it starred Domon Kashu.
It did. And it did retcon some things here and there, like Dr. Craig or something like that.
I think he dies. I think that was because they were kind of hoping the Maverick Hunter series would reboot the whole
that's what
franchise.
The idea was. And the thing is, because Capcom has unrealistic goals of sales, they can't the project. But my point is, that at least they did it with that. Then they had the Mega Man Zero series, which is kind of like a continuation. They're just telling a whole different new story using one of the characters. All Nintendo would have to do with some of their stuff that they have is just reboot the Metroid series.
Unfortunately, I think at this point is the companies that they would go for with that, I guess, don't know what to do with it.
I mean, it's really not. It's not that hard. All you have to do is take this, like, the overarching story of, let's say, I don't want to say the first Metroid games because, yeah, like the first Metroid, the first Mega Man, the first Sonic had stories, but they really didn't have stories until they got kind of along a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you take the first definitive story and just retell it. Do it in a platform or whatever it is. Just update the graphics, redo the levels, retell the story in a way that will make people excited to play it again, and boom, you're done.
Yep. And like I said, I understand the business aspect for it. I just, being the consumer, this is the product that I want to support, I just feel constantly gypped that these other stores are like, well, we won't carry the games until the system sells. Well, then how are you going to sell the system if you don't have any games to play for it? And stuff like that. I even wrote to Ubisoft because Wii U was the only system that didn't get the limited edition version of the game. And normally, there are reasons behind that. Like, a good example is the Call of Duty. They give you the season pass, something Nintendo doesn't do, so there's no point in giving them the collector's edition because part of it is absolutely useless.
Yeah.
But Ubisoft's usually comes with a statue, art book, CD, and maybe a DLC special mission pack. And Nintendo didn't get that. So I went up and I wrote to Ubisoft and went, hey, Ubisoft, why is every system under the sun but Nintendo getting this special edition? And they did respond to me. They responded with a I'm not even sure what kind of response they gave me. They told me, let's see, let me pull up this email for a second. Filler music.
As you're pulling it up.
Here we go. I got it. It goes, okay, we will assume your issue has been resolved. If we do not hear from you within 4 days, you may reopen and update this ticket at any time by clicking on the link below. Thank you for for contacting us. I am sorry to hear about your experience with the limited edition availability. I went ahead and entered this in as a complaint and will escalate it to the development team. We very much appreciate your passion for our games and hope that you continue to enjoy them. And, of course, I will. I will continue to enjoy Ubisoft games because I like Ubisoft games. It was just one of those things, you know, it's like one of those things where they're like, okay, your system, the people that play your system, you guys are, your $100 is valuable to us. Oh, but if you played that system, you could take your money elsewhere. We only want $50 from you.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just Nintendo, like I said, they're not, Nintendo, anybody who thinks that Nintendo's Wii U system is on the same level as the Xbox and the PlayStation are incorrect, because it's not.
Well, technically, it is above and beyond what they do. Their online features and their gaming account profile, yes, is not on the same page.
Oh no, it's just that the Wii U, for what they're doing, like just what the Nintendo have always been, is Nintendo's always been the happy-go-lucky, I don't want to say child of the world, because they're not. They're old school.
No, it's not even that. They do have a couple of games for them where you go, wait a minute, that was a Nintendo game?
See, that's my point. Right there. You shouldn't look at a game and go, that was a Nintendo game. You should look at a game and go, that was a game. See, that Nintendo is
I meant by, like, for example, Conker's Bad Fur Day. When you look at that, no one would think that started out on Nintendo.
Well, yeah, but that's my point is that's because Nintendo has this very white glove, saintly thing. Like, Nintendo would never have anything morally wrong, or not that they definitely have had games like that, but Nintendo, because they built that image, that's part of the problem. They have to. They have to. I don't want to say mature because they're the oldest company out there right now, but they have to. If they want to step up and make their system more of aside from making and doing things different and actually developing a whole new system, people are going to look at like how it is. You look at Nintendo. You look at Nintendo. You look at Mario. You look at all the fun stuff, and you look at PlayStation and Xbox, and you look at the gore and it's the violence, and that's not good necessarily. I'm not saying that's the way you should want to be seen, but like I miss the days of gaming where it's just like Sonic can jump on top of Robotnik's head a few times to blow up his machine. I miss those type of games, but it's just Nintendo's gonna be overlooked by a lot of people for that sheer fact.
I think the biggest issue with that is like you say, Nintendo has been trying to, get the more hardcore gamer into their fold because they want to be able to be considered in a sense like PlayStation and Xbox, because they do have a couple of cheery, just, fun games. They want to get more into like a better mix. But I think on that front, it was one of Nintendo's biggest issues is the system they developed. If you break it down right now, it's a super version of a PS3 or an Xbox 360. It's not on par with the Xbox One and the PS4. And game developers decide that generation is going to be what they set the standard for.
Which is
since Nintendo. Yeah, I'm not trashing.
Oh no, you're not. I just want to clarify.
But that's the thing. Is like so let's just say you have 3 people. You're always going to, in the video game world, if you have 3 people, the overachiever, the guy that's like, yeah, whatever, I can work like the overachiever, but sometimes I don't wanna. And then you got the guys like, hey, dude, let's just do it tomorrow. Everyone's going to set the standard on the overachiever. And technically in this front, Xbox One and PS4 is the overachiever. So because of that, game developers are going, well, we're not going to work it. And that was Nintendo's fault. They decided to go, well, let's make a new system. Oh, wait, but it may have a GameCube reception, so let's not actually try and be like a next-gen system and just be a better version of what's out right now.
Exactly.
And I think that's their hurting problem, is the fact that they're not as powerful as Xbox One and PS4. Because once those systems were announced, everyone was like not caring anymore.
Well, that's the problem, because as a game developer, if I'm a game developer, in order for me to make money, I gotta develop at the cutting edge of what's coming out. So PS4, Xbox One, whatever. Obviously, I'm gonna know about them a bit before the public does, so I know for developing purposes. I'm gonna have some specs to look at and develop for, and then I'm gonna look at Nintendo's Wii U in this case and go, well, I can't really develop for this at the same level, so either I'm going to just give it a real watered-down version in certain respects, or I'm going to forget about it completely because it's not going to be worth the extra money involved in developing a detuned version for Wii U, in a sense. And that's how all developers are going to look at it. And that's the problem with Nintendo. Now, I think what Nintendo should do, and I've thought this since the Wii, actually since before the Wii.
GameCube?
Yeah, but it was when the Wii, not when the Wii was out, but when the Wii was announced. The one thing I thought that Nintendo should do is, because they've always, I think, had kind of a front in this market, they kind of know what they're doing in this market, and they could really develop this market, being purely handheld. Being a pure port.
Handheld is what's keeping them going.
Like instead of having a entertainment console, ditching the idea of entertainment console, and I think if Nintendo pour the resources into being handheld, we could have something really, really powerful, more powerful than what people probably would expect out of it. But it would be like Nintendo's hand, because Nintendo, when the PSP came out and what is it, the Vita or whatever,
the Vita,
people were like, oh, blah, 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 blah. I've always had faith in the Nintendo Game Boy, whatever, because that thing, it just hit a formula for success. There's a reason why you made the Game Gear. The Game Gear needed a pound of batteries.
That was like the thing. Like everyone was going, "Oh, the Vita's gonna rip apart the DS," and I'm like, "Okay, Game Gear couldn't do it. Lynx couldn't do it. Microsoft said I ain't even touching that. What makes you think that the Vita is gonna knock it out off its seat? Even when Nintendo has a bad system, like the 3DS, was horrible when it first came out in terms of sales and such. Nintendo was able to turn that puppy back around and make it a cash cow.
Like, I think if Nintendo just truly said, you know what, consoles, whatever. Because I think they should go like this: consoles, whatever. We're gonna go the route how mobile phones are. Mobile phones are now basically mobile computers.
Yeah.
We're going to make the entertainment system mobile, completely portable. We're going to make the Game Boy the standard to be. This is the future. And I truly believe that to be the case. This is the future. The future is going to be now because we're going to do this. And I think if they take a couple, they still, push things out. Mario Party 44,000. But invest into that mobile Game Boy powerhouse platform. And I think you'll see... I think you'll see it just print money again because that always prints money.
Nintendo's the 3DS market is going strong. Like the Pokemon came out, they're fine, they're good for another 3 months.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. But I mean, if you're able to,
I think in terms of the console system, Nintendo's got to just go. You know what? Screw if it fails or not, and just invest in the system. They've got to really invest in their system to make it so. Or to be honest, what they should do, they should just let Sony and Microsoft make the next system first. That way they know what the standard is, and then just build to the standard.
Well, I mean, yeah, and to be honest, that is the Xbox One and PS4. Just let that come out with something a year after that, because those aren't going to just go away. They're going to stay for a good 5 to 10 years.
Well, I don't think they should do a new system right away, because I don't think that'll help them. Plus, they still have all these projects that keep getting delayed. Like, I'm still waiting for Bayonetta, and oh my, when that game comes out, I'm going to be happy.
Right, but at this point, I think they should just invest in developing the next-gen system for themselves. Basically, just look at what Xbox One is, look at what PS4 is, take what makes people really enjoy both aspects, and then smash it together in their own system that doesn't have, it doesn't have to be the size of a notebook. It can be a bigger system.
Well, like I said, you're right. What they should do is they should look at the features that are on the systems now, take note of it, but I think they should wait for when the PS5 comes out. That way they can go, okay, that's what our game developers want. Let's make that now.
I just think... Now, I don't remember when PS3 came out.
I think PS3 came out exactly the same time as the Wii. They both launched at the same.
Yeah,
because I remember them going. Because I remember them going. People asking Nintendo, "Are you concerned that your system's coming out a day after PS3?" And they went, "No, we're not."
I thought the Wii came out either before or after that. I thought it was the Xbox and the PlayStation 3 that came out at the same.
No, the 360 came out first. Then the PS3 came out, and the day after PS3 came out, Nintendo came out. Because I remember the whole big thing, everyone getting shot in the street for PS3s, and then the very next day, the Wii came out, and then all these memes came out going, "Congratulations, you own a Wii, and you didn't have to get shot for it."
Oh, here we go. Xbox 360 came out in 2005. A year later, PlayStation came out November 11, 2006, and the Wii came out on my birthday of November 19th, 2006. That's right, because I remember it shared my birthday. Now, the thing is, well, let's just use 2006. When is the PS4 coming out?
The 15th.
So that's 6 or 7 years between the two systems?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Nintendo can afford to wait 6 or 7 years again without doing anything for PS5 to come out to be announced before they make a system.
The only thing with that is right now, the only reason why I say they should is because if they bring out another system right away, then people are going to go, "Oh, it's just a PS4, well, I already own that," or, "Oh, it's just slightly more powerful, well, okay, I'll just wait for PS5 when it comes out." But if they held out until Microsoft and Sony shot out their new system, they could make it on par with the new system, so then it's a truly equal playing ground.
It's true. I just think the infrastructure that's been developed by having the Xbox and not so much the PlayStation 2. Like PS3 really didn't have much to bank off of the PS2. But I think the infrastructure that Sony has developed in strides with PlayStation 3 and the infrastructure that Microsoft has from Xbox to the 360, I just think Nintendo's infrastructure is just not there to maintain and draw the masses in, and that's why I think they should ditch consoles and go to basically make the next gen thing handheld. Be like, hey, that's cute. The PlayStation 5 has to sit in your room. Whatever, that's how quaint. Your Xbox has to be stationary. This thing is fully portable.
Granted, for me, my hesitation for them going all handheld is because I never play with my 3DS. I play with my home console system, so I kind of want Nintendo to stay with that because that's what I like.
Yeah, but I mean, if they just go...
But I understand that for them, they should... If the handheld system is the only way they can keep afloat, then yeah, they're going to have to do that.
I mean, it's like, not make the next 3DS and make like the PS5, the next gen system. It's just fully portable, and just like what you can do with mobile phones and what you can do with high def camcorders and whatnot. Take an HDMI cable, plug it into your TV. Now you're playing it on the TV. You know what I mean? That way, you wouldn't really lose too much that way.
Yeah, the only thing that is an issue with that, at least the only thing that I can think of, is how are you is the game system itself and the game stuff, because it's going to have to require quite a bit into that portable system in order to have a hard drive for it to hold all your save datas, plus a way of making the games portable enough where it's not this huge thing.
Well, I look at it this way. They're going to have to do a little development, maybe have a cloud system for storing your save data on that you can access wirelessly. And when you look at mobile phones today, the processors in these phones are redonkulous. The capability that mobile phones have, if you look at how that technology is going, and if Nintendo takes that, but without the idea of making calls and having apps and just being all processing power for badassery, as it were, you would have, I think you have, I'm not saying the technologies are there tomorrow, but I think with development, when you look at like phones have quad cores now. It's just like, it blows your mind when you look at phones from a few years ago to now. And if you continue that progression and then take that for a mobile, basically a portable console, I think you could do it.
I was more talking about the games, in terms of what medium you would make the game on, that would be portable enough, because carrying a CD around would mean that the game system itself would have to be pretty huge in order to have the screen and the space to have the disc.
You can look at it a few different ways. They could develop either use a Blu-ray disc, make something big enough to have the Blu-ray in it, and then just because Blu-ray.
Well, I guess they could use the Vita system, because they have like tiny Blu-ray discs on there.
They could do something like that if they want to avoid the moving parts, which is why I've always liked Nintendo over the PSP. If they want to avoid the moving parts, because the more moving parts they have, the more they can fail.
The more it's going to break down.
If they want to avoid that, jump drives. Take it like a jump drive system. I mean, when you look at the capability for data storage that's mobile now that fits on the keychain, is huge. If you're able to somehow develop that into a way of getting a game.
I heard talk that was an idea at one point, but I think something was like, I think the flash drive setup can't handle that yet. I think there was some issue with a flash drive holding a program on it.
Well, yeah.
But then again, that was like before the PS4 and 360 were the Xbox One were like still in their infancy.
Right.
So that may have changed by now.
I mean, I'm not a technology whiz. I don't know what the limitations of current tech is with regards to that. But just looking at the pure processing power we have in the palm of our hands in our pockets, the pure storage potential we can have in our pockets, I think with some research, and I think Nintendo, as far as console gaming goes, obviously they're not the one that should spearhead it for the world in general, but as far as console gaming goes, or gaming goes, because Nintendo, when you think about it, the Game Boy was revolutionary when it came in. The idea of, wait, I can take this on the go? Yeah, it's a brick, but I can take this on the go? I mean, that was
a brick.
I mean, that was mind-blowing when it came out, when you think about it.
Yeah.
So I think, like, Nintendo, if they really invested in that, because you think about it, you look at an external hard drive or an internal hard drive that can hold terabytes of information and how small they are these days. Combine that with, like, I think you can get everything together, and then you can have, what they could also do potentially is either go, hey, this is the gaming thing, there is a bit of a speaker system on here, but if you want real gaming, but we've also developed this high-def earbuds for you. That way you cut out.
Like Sony does have it. They have the 7.1 audio jack now.
Right, which is what I think if Nintendo did it that way, it would help cut down space, because you don't have to worry about having an amazing sound system on your little portable thing. You have just enough you want to play without it, but really sell it with earbuds. Because it's, aside from being practical that way, it's also being courteous to everybody around you. I don't want to hear you playing whatever you're playing. If you're playing it outside, and I'm outside also. Yeah. Have an HDMI port on it so you can jack into your TV and go from playing on something that's maybe a tablet. Basically, if they made it like a tablet that can play a game, a tablet had a way of having a ergonomic controller attached on it that could plug into your TV, you're golden.
Well, technically, if they just redeveloped the controller that they have, because that's basically got everything. You can play your game straight on it. If they worked on that, if they worked on making the system like that, that could be something interesting.
Well, that's my point. They're already kind of almost halfway there. If they just
living on a prayer.
Yeah. If they just scrap the whole, not scrap, but if they just take the skeleton of the Wii U and basically make it a bit more ergonomic, a bit more user-friendly to use, as a controller and look at, and not be like a strain or anything like that, and have it contain everything, where you don't need a TV at all. Have it be Wi-Fi capable, so you can go onto the cloud, the store, if you want to, or do whatever that way. Because let's face it, unless you're in the middle of the sticks, you're going to have access to some type of Wi-Fi port. That's just the way it is these days. You could go into Starbucks and play it and retrieve a save file. I mean, it's that easy. So have it that way, and then have an HDMI port to let it plug into a TV, so you can plug into a 72,000-inch TV if you wanted to, and play Street Fighter in all its glory. Let's say that's a game, or whatever you're playing. See Mario, have a 4-foot tall Mario on your TV. It's not hopping on some Goombas, then you can do that. I mean, what? I think if they went and said, hey, PS whatever the next gen system is, that's cool. Here it is in the palm of your hand. I think people will go, well, damn. It's basically the size of a tablet. And if they let it do some tablet features, like let it surf the web, let it do certain things that you can do on like a PS3 and an Xbox now, then
without the Doritos ads,
right? You do all that stuff. You let it surf the web. You give it apps so you could log into Facebook with it. You basically have the Nintendo tablet, the Nintendo gaming tablet. I would buy one right away because I don't have a tablet. So I mean, like, I don't know why a company hasn't jumped on that yet, because that would be huge.
Probably because they're afraid of what Apple will do, because Apple sues everybody for the littlest things.
Yeah, but I mean, you can get through that. Just basically do, like, see how Android and Samsung get away with stuff. Get away with it the same way, and you'll be fine.
It's like I could just see that now. Sony goes, and now we have the brand new PS5 tablet, and all of a sudden an Apple rep is right there at E3 and just slaps them in the face with a lawsuit. They have it already printed out. They just have to fill in the name of who they're suing.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure that's how Apple does it. I'm sure Apple has just a giant pre-printed form, and they just have to type in the name of the person they're suing.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. But Apple, they're... I don't know the current state of the sue happy world of them, but they really, last I heard about it, they were kind of on the losing end of being like, listen, you can't have patent over a round edged rectangle. I mean,
yep.
You can't have that. Stop.
They tried to pitch that fingerprint scan was their idea when Motorola thought of it first.
Yeah.
And Motorola had it like 5 years ago.
Right, they'll pitch anything. They don't want you to have a central circular button, because that's their thing. And if you ever
no, they didn't want you to have a home button in general. They sued Samsung because they had a home button, and Samsung's like, how are they supposed to get to home?
And being like a rounded rectangle, they tried to sue for that, and then everybody was like, but that makes sense. If you make it a sharp edge, that's gonna break. You can't claim
Then
that.
they also tried to sue for having voice commands when those were around way before Siri came along.
Yeah, I know. They try. They're trying.
They try and make it think like they did it first.
Well, it's not just that. They're trying to do everything they can just also to get more money out of it. But all you have to do is with a tablet is, if there was going to be a gaming tablet like that from Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, whoever, it's just you got to look at how other companies have navigated that red tape, navigate it the same way, and avoid other companies. Not just Apple's red tape, but Android's red tape. Navigate that. It's going to be a bit of stormy water, but once you navigate it all, you're fine. And then you have this awesome thing. But I don't know.
So
that's my thought.
So let us know what you think, Fearless Gamers. Are you like me? Are you just thinking that Nintendo's still just having a rough patch, and once those games they kept promising us come out, we'll see them bounce back up into competition? And do you think they should just move and go into the mobile system and try and make a super awesome PS5 equivalent handheld system? Or do you think they should do like what I'm thinking, wait until the next game system comes out and use that to be their standard so they can be on pars? And in general, what's your opinion on the 3 consoles that are coming out?
Yes.
Because I'm sorry, as everyone counts the Wii U as a current gen, I still count it as next gen because it was their next generation of game consoles. Because that's technically what that means. So, I don't get how everyone's like, it's a current gen. I'm like, no, the Wii's a current gen because the Wii came out with the PS3 and Xbox 360. The Wii U came out with PS4 and Xbox One. It's a next gen. Granted, it's a very weak next gen. It's still a next gen.
Yeah, and it came out first. It's like, that's like saying the Xbox 360 wasn't their next gen because it came out a year before. No, it was. That's how that works. And also, what's your thoughts on water levels? Because I hate them.
Depends. For me, if it's like Ocarina of Time, where I have no breathing, I have unlimited air supply, I'm golden. But if it's like Sonic, where every 30 seconds I need to find that air bubble piece that's 45 seconds apart from each other, then I don't like it.
See, I mean, my whole thing is, breathing, yeah, makes it more tedious. But even having unlimited air, it just seems like every developer that made a platform game or an Ocarina of Time like third-person action adventure RPG type of game sat down and went, okay, it's time for the obligatory water level. How tedious can we make this level? It seems like it's a prereq. It has to be tedious.
Speaking of the gym, I know I'm going back to this. I apologize. It's just I find it hilarious. But I'm going to change subjects after I make this point. About the whole new Call of Duty game. There was this great video that I saw. The developers are talking about Call of Duty, and they're like, with Ghost, we're using a brand new AI system that's never before developed. It's got this integrated AI system where the fish will actually swim away from you when you swim near them. And at that moment, it immediately cuts to 1996 or whenever Mario 64 came out, and it shows Mario doing the exact same thing. The fish are swimming away from him when he got near it.
Yeah, that's true. Not to say Mario...
But I just found that hilarious.
Mario 64's water levels, I found a bit more bearable because there wasn't a set specific, this is what you need to breathe. You get a coin, you get your air back. Their water levels are probably one of the most painless. They still were tedious. It seems like water levels are meant to be unnecessarily tedious, and I don't understand why.
Because they know you hate them.
But it's just like without fail, no matter what game it is, it's just like, well, and it's also it seems like time for the obligatory water level. It's like, we don't need a water level. It's okay. We can go without it. Nope.
I
don't care if we're in the desert. You're going to walk into this oasis, and it's now going to be a water level. All right.
Like Quantum of Solace.
If you really, really want to push this water level, I do. It's like but why? And I don't get it.
And going on to some 40K stuff, I'm sure you heard of Inquisition. No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
It'll be interesting. Can't really say much more on that.
Supposedly, we're going to have more of a kill team set up with it. So, like, you'll have Death Watch a little bit better with it.
Well, that'll be interesting.
And from what I've been told, from what I've been hearing, this is going to be the first Codex that's specifically made to be an ally force with other Imperial. Why don't you go into it?
That makes sense. Because, they are. That's what they are.
Yep. It'd be interesting. I may pick it up, because I could use an ally force with my guard.
But, it's digital, right?
Yes, it's digital. There's talk that there may be a hard copy later if this sells well, but for right now, it's just a, digital.
There has to be a hard copy. Just because I don't have a way of doing digital. That's the only reason why I'm still pushing for hard copies, because I can't do digital.
Well, you do, you just don't like it.
No, I can't. I can't do digital.
No, you have a smartphone.
It doesn't mean I can do it.
Yeah, smartphones can do it.
No, they can't do it. End of story.
Yes, they can. You just refuse.
If you don't have a tablet, you can't do a digital codex.
Why not?
Because it's pointless. You need the screen. You need the real estate. You need the screen real estate, or else what's the point?
So, as I said, you can do it.
I can't do it. I won't be able to read it. I won't be able to navigate it. I'd have to zoom in ridiculous. My battery life would die quickly. Phones can't do it. Phones can read books. Phones can be ebooks, but they die. Phones can play mobile games, but they die quicker than a tablet would doing the same exact thing. You need to have the tablet's capability.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna call no on that, because I read all of Angels of Darkness on my phone, and my phone never died, and I was able to read the whole book.
Oh, good for you! You read a book and it didn't die. But if you do it, and that's also just text. But when you get into more, especially they're gonna try and compete with that would mean the iPhone could do the Apple's thing, but that's gonna kill it. It's battery life.
Well, the difference is the ebook version doesn't have all those fancy links and definitions and such. It's just a book.
That's also
just
unfortunate. I've always felt they should somehow step that up a bit, because
they only do it on the iPad because apparently Apple paid the money. Yep. Apple paid them money and said, we'll give you money, and GW, with their loving money sound, just went, hey!
Well, any company would do the same thing. I just wonder if it's just... I wonder if there's an actual contract or not, or if it's just they haven't been paid by the other people yet. Also, I think it's ludicrous that they offer... Well, now they offer the Farsight Enclave as a hard copy. But I think it's ludicrous to charge $100 for the limited edition of it. I think $50 for the Farsight Enclave Codex supplement is also ridiculous. That's $50.
I agree.
That's the price of Codex.
Stupid. Yep, you're paying the same price for a 102-page Codex with all these entries for a 30-page book with 2 pages of rules.
How many pages it is? I don't know if they tell you. It's 72 pages, okay?
72 pages, but only 2 of them actually have rules on them.
But you see, the thing is, the Farsight Enclave, and looking at the GW website, regular book is $49.50. The Tau Codex is $49.50. It's the same price as the Tau Codex.
Yep.
It's cheaper than the Space Marine Codex, and it's more expensive than every other Codex that hasn't been 6th edition yet.
Yep.
So, that's the one. I mean, look at Eandon. Eandon, same thing. They really should have made them like 30.
Yeah. 30 is like pushing it, but it's still tolerable. You know, that's your D&D supplement.
Yeah, that's also like, I think that's a very tolerable thing. That's like Death in Disguise. It's $33. I mean, that's totally fine. Have the supplement be something like that. $33, not $50. Especially because it's just for Farsight Enclave, and you need, if I remember correctly, you need the Tau Codex to play this.
Yeah.
That still holds true, right?
Yeah, you still need the Codex.
So it's like, why charge me? I basically have to buy 2 codices to play Farsight. Don't get me wrong, I'm still going to buy it. But definitely not going to get a limited edition.
Well, it's just, that long line of GW trying to nickel and dime you.
I mean, yes and no. I have a feeling that, like, I haven't checked current 4th Ed D&D books, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's something similar. It's just like... It just seems... Well... Because it goes both ways. It goes either make it cheap so it's affordable for people to get it, but then it goes, if you pay this, the people who really want to get it to play these rules will get it anyway.
Yeah. It's like, because everyone's also, like, the big complaint, because that's what it is about the pricing, is because everyone's so remembering when they did it in 3rd Ed. When they did in 3rd Ed, the codexes were 20, supplements were 10.
Yeah, but also...
Granted, supplements only had rules in it, so it was like 5 pages.
And back then the price of gas was $2. I mean, come on, we can't be really judging prices too much. I get what they're saying, but also, I mean, at the same time, I own a 3rd edition Space Marine Codex. That thing is like 4 pages. I mean, it's so thin that you'd be hard-pressed to be able to justify more than $25 for it.
Oh, yeah.
I only owned Assassin Supplement. That thing is like literally like 12 pages. Like literally.
It's literally a page of intro, 2 pages per assassin, and that was about it. And that 2 pages was, one was the fluff behind him, and the other was his stats.
And then there was like a page for like, or 2 for like...
A picture.
Yeah, there was some pictures, and then there was like 2 pages for missions.
Yep.
And the reason they were 2 pages is because they had a map as well on that page. Otherwise it could have been, otherwise it could have been half a page for both missions. But that's that. And I'm looking forward to the Inquisition thing. I think it'll be interesting. I think if they're gonna go, what they want to do with it, like you said, is it's meant to be like an ally thing.
Yeah.
I haven't read too much on the rumors of it. Can it be played standalone?
From what I've been reading in the rumors, it's an ally codex. It doesn't have enough in it to generate a full codex.
Now, is it that it doesn't have enough where you wouldn't be able to make a quote-unquote viable list, or you can't even make the minimum force organization with it?
From my understanding, it's built with the Allies' force organization chart in mind.
Okay. Which is still fine because...
Like I think there's only like 2 super heavies, 2 heavy supports, and they're like on the diet side of heavy support.
Right.
Their fast attacks are like kinda sorta fast attacks. Like it's very much it's a troop choice. Kinda sorta. You know, it's a troop choice if it's an ally, but I think from what I've been reading, it would be one of those like when I went to the game store that one time and I said, oh, I'm gonna pick up Dark Angel, and they're like, why? Don't bother, here, pick up this codex. It's gonna be like one of those situations where you go, I'm gonna run a whole Inquisition army, and they'll be like, yeah, good luck with that.
Right. See, I haven't seen too much on it. I haven't read too far into it because I don't want to get my hopes up and not be able to look at it because, it's not a physical copy out there. But
from my understanding, it's digital only for now.
Yeah.
But I'm sure if it sells well, it will go that front. And to be honest, when I think about it, I don't mind supplements as digital copies because then that's less books you have to carry.
No, it's true. I mean, a digital copy, it makes sense. I'm just looking at this as not just myself, but when you look at the, and it's not just 40K, it's not just Warhammer, it's not just Lord of the Rings. You look at War Machine, you look at Hordes, even Flames of War a bit. I don't want to say the average age is going to be kind of high, but there's a lot of people who are still in high school playing these things. Now, not everybody's going to just have the latest and greatest tablet or latest and greatest whatever to do it, you know? Like, there's some kids out there who are just not some, I say there's a fair amount who don't have a tablet because they're in high school. What do you need a tablet for, kid? You bother me. Go away. And,
that's sadly changing from the way I've been selling them.
Right. I mean, it's changing, and there are goods to it, and there's our bads to it. But it's still an expensive thing that not every kid's going to be able to just jump on and get.
Yep.
And if a kid really wants to, and let's be serious, go into a gaming store, you see people playing, you're not seeing the 20-odd-year-olds, you're seeing the teens, you're seeing high schoolers. You're not complaining. Because, if I could have gotten into it when I was that age, I would have. But I didn't have what you call money. So I went out and helped out people with disabilities in order to fund my 40K when I was in high school. Right. I mean, I worked at Blockbuster. I didn't fund anything. But
and look where they are now.
Yeah, right. But so I think, I like it when I see, okay, it's digital, but we're going to get a hard copy. Now, I can understand why the Inquisition will be purely like an Allies thing, because if you want to make it pure Inquisitor Force, you know what that means? You play it with Imperial Guard.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. With a couple of assassins.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming the assassins are in the Inquisition book?
No one's really sure what's going on, like what's in it, what isn't. What I heard, now this is just, again, this is rumor, this is what I've just been hearing around, so half of this could be wrong, but I've been hearing that the Inquisition section of the Grey Knights is where most of this is coming from. So it's going to have the Inquisitors, it's going to have the Assassins, and it's going to have a couple of other, things that they would have. Heck, we may even get the Sisters of Silence in this.
Maybe. I mean, that would be a stretch, just because they haven't been hinted at anything.
They haven't been hinted, but I'm just saying, that's the only, other elite choice I can think of them giving them is that.
That, or you have, maybe they'll actually make the Inquisitor's apprentice, the interrogator, not be lame and have, a cool entry for himself.
Let's see. But let's see if I can find
I mean, it's just that, my point with it is, obviously just... I'm totally fine with it being an ally owner thing, because what they basically do is either they requisition forces or they have their own private military, and you can represent their own private military with the Imperial Guard. I was hoping that the Inquisitorial Stormtroopers would have their own little entry, because they were always meant to be kind of a little bit different. But that's still pretty cool. I would imagine, even though the assassins are part of the Officio Assassinorum or whatever it's called, and not Inquisitorial forces, they pretty much are only brought out with Inquisitorial, protocol. So
pretty much the Inquisitors are the ones that hire them out.
Yes, I mean, there have been, I think, Space Marines have been able to get them out as well, but it's really just the Inquisitors getting them out.
Okay, here's the biggest rumor of it. Codex Inquisition still uses your ally slot. They were okay, so apparently when you have them, they only take up your ally slot. They were written as battle brother allies in which Witch Hunters and Grey Knights before the allies' rules were actually implemented an edition later. Now they'll play that way, requiring a troop, etc. The difference now though is that the troop choice can be the retinue, full of fun stuff, or the retinue can be an HQ choice without taking a slot, so that you can take stormtroopers. It's not a full codex in a sense. You'll find fast attack and heavy support a little light on options. It's the first of what will be ally-intended codexes, which, as I explained about a year ago, can stand alone, but not with the same breadth as other armies. Also, immediately afterwards, we'll be seeing a Forge World force of the Space Marines and Inquisition to update all those rules as well.
Gotcha.
So they're making it like a super light codex that you would be better off giving them as an ally.
Right. I mean, I'm just wondering what all will be in it, and I'm assuming the assassins will be there. I'm assuming they're going to have a whole big thing.
And I'm loving... I always love when Imperial Guard get a new codex coming out, because I love hearing how everyone tells me all of the Apocalypse tanks are going to be heavy supports for them.
Yeah.
You're just like, no. There's no way they're going to make D weapons 40k.
Yeah, I mean, what they could do is just not give it a D weapon, but that'd be weird.
Well, it's going to be... Wait, so we powered down because we're not fighting so many people?
Or it's just that, like, in place of that D weapon, it has a different weapon, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, it doesn't have
the
Doomsday cannon or whatever, it just got the Inferno cannon.
The latest rumors that I've heard is mission objectives are potentially a new special rule for the Imperial Guard. Although my channels are a little dry on this front, one can only begin to imagine what they'll do. I heard on the grapevine that this special rule would allow even sergeants to order minor orders to their unit. Formerly Forge World dominated vehicles will take a tour in the Imperial Guard Codex. This means we could see such units as Forge World's Destroyer Tank Hunter as part of the upcoming Codex. I find that very unlikely. Everyone just wants Forge World tanks to be in the Imperial Guard Codex. Even though apparently from a rumor I heard they're going to be switching the disclaimer in the front of the book from, though these are legal for 40k, you must have your player's permission, to these are legal in 40k, please make sure your player knows the rules of the units from this book. If that's true or not, don't know, that's what I heard. Headquarters. Headquarters units have been a massive shakeup. Above the whole organization, some units have been deleted, others modified. You start by buying a command squad. This is then changed by swapping the officer for a commissar, if one wishes to. The 3 present advisors have been retained, with the addition of the Primaris Psyker as a command squad advisor. So it looks like they're trying to like mainstream it, where you have the command squad, then you just change out the characters in the command squad. Ministrum priests are back in the same manner as before. This time, though, it has been rumored they increased the range output of a unit as well combat potential, maybe in the form of the preferred enemy special rule, who knows. The mighty or not so mighty Engine Seer has stayed relatively the same except for the transition from HQ to either elite or heavy support. But what excites me the most are their roles on the field of battle. Apparently they will act much like royal courts in the Necron army, brought with certain upgrades, then attached out to other units to confer certain benefits to that unit.
Damn.
In terms of repacking, it is believed that special weapon squads will receive their own box set. This also is rumored to be extended to the veteran squads and heavy weapons teams, coming in boxes of 5 models with a wide variety of special equipment. Moving on. What?
All right, let's stop that, because they can read that themselves if they want to. Lame. Cool, but lame. Just made the Mechanicum their own codex by now.
I wouldn't mind if they just make a Mechanicum doctrine that makes them Mechanicum.
I wouldn't even mind if it's a supplement. Just give us a pure Mechanicum force somehow.
Forge World's doing that.
Stop dodging. Yeah, but that's also 30k, and that's all that jazz, which is not bad. It's like, it's just, you look at a 30k force, if they're going to do it that way, just some of the Space Marines, is a very clear difference, because 30k Space Marines are redonkulous, because you can have huge squads for the same price of the 10-man squad. But it's just the engine seers, they constantly get thrown around.
Yeah.
Give them it'd be kind of cool if they're kind of like the Royal Court. I forget that Necron unit itself.
The Cryptex.
It'd be cool if they're kind of like that. But make them whatever, and then have a supplemental codex like the Farsight.
People are going to. They're probably going to have a supplement for all of the big names. The Ketchin Jungle Fighters, the Jungle Fighters, the Ketchin Warriors.
The Jungle Fighters, the Ketchin are the Jungle Fighters.
Okay.
And the Cadians, the Canadian.
The Cadians. I'm keep screwing. The Cadians. The Armageddon, the Armageddon Legion. They probably won't do anything with Death Corps because Forge World tends to do stuff with them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first supplement disc should be the Mechanicum because it'll be so radically different than what kind of like how Farsight gives the pure battlesuit thing.
A whole tank troop army would be nice.
Yeah, bring that back because they had that in 4th edition. They should just do that, and I don't know. I just want to.
Yeah, because I think it wasn't in 4th edition if you had a tech priest as your HQ, your tanks became troops.
I forget. There was a special PDF that you could play in addition to your codex and make it a pure tank legion, basically, which is pretty cool. Don't get me wrong.
It would be cool if the rumor of the Knight was true, but I doubt it.
Right. But
it would be cool. But I love, and I'm sorry, this is never happening, the Super Heavies are not going into the Imperial Guard Codex. It's been the rumor for the last 4 editions. It's never happened.
I don't think it'll happen purely on the base that we don't have really anything to go by with Super Heavies. And what are they going to take up 3 heavy supports? There's nothing to go on with that.
Yeah, that would be broken, especially if you just give up everything just to have 3 Baneblades. That's the rumors is, we're going to have Super Heavies, it's only the Baneblade, but no, I mean...
It would be a terribly small Imperial Guard army if you had a Baneblade or even 2 in your force, or even just 1, I should say.
And there's even a rumor that there's going to be a special 40k game expansion just to make Super Heavies in 40k. So if that's true, then why are they going to bother making a Codex have it?
Exactly. By the way, it's I'm just thinking of it, okay, so you have the Baneblade, and so now all Bright Lances are going to focus on that, or the Terminators are just going to use their Storm Shields and Thunderhammers and break it apart. I mean, it's overpowered, but at the same time,
it's a cool vehicle, but it's not... It's not going to be your win button with your Codex.
I mean, it definitely will help with that, but... as long as the player knows how to deal with it, the big problem with it is it has a bajillion guns, so that would really...
And it's got, 9 hit points.
Yeah, that's the hardest part of it. But, with that, and lastly, what I want to say with regards to Forge World, I like that they got the Horus Heresy book, the second one out. I don't own it yet. I want to get it at some point in my life. But, I do like, I'm part of the newsletter, they revealed Ferrus Manus. I do feel like they are stepping up their game and making Horus Heresy releases. Because back when the first book came out, it's kind of and there'll be a Primarch. We swear. We swear we're going to have a Primarch model. Don't you worry about it.
From what I've read in Games Day, they now have a second person working on them, so there's 2 people working on Primarchs. Horus should be seen in January. Each Primarch is still going to take 6 months to develop.
Oh, yeah.
But instead of 1 every 6 months, there'll be 2 every 6 months.
They definitely shouldn't rush it, and it's not just the Primarch.
Yeah.
Now we're getting a whole bunch of armor variants and things like that. It's it just feels like they were a little bit slow in the output of stuff to come with that book. But now it seems like they caught up basically. I just think, I just love the new Mechanica models. Yeah, they look really good. I forget when the first Horus Heresy book came out because they kind of relaunched it. They did I don't want to say a revised edition of it, but I definitely remember seeing part 1 out for pre-order again a while ago, back after I got it. But really? I think they did something. I don't know. But I don't remember when that book came out. But I do want the release of the... I would prefer the books come out at an increased pace quicker than what they have been. Because you only have 2 now, and it's been a few years. Been at least 2. Yeah, I want the books to come out a bit quicker, even if the models don't come out to support it right away. And the reason for that is, if you're, let's say you're a Blood Angels fan, or a Night Lords fan, or something like that. Well, no, the Night Lords came out already. That's a bad example. But,
well, in Massacre.
Yeah, but like if you were them, you didn't know when they were coming out. You were hoping they were coming out quick, and you got lucky. But who knows when Imperial Fists? Who knows when Blood Angels? Who knows when White Scars? Because I named those three specifically because they are at the Siege of Terra. They were defending.
Yeah.
So if you're going on that idea, they may not come out to the very end. Which
supposedly they did have a list at Games Day, basically breaking that down for the next year.
Right, but it's just like if you are a fan of, let's say, one of those traitor or loyalist forces at the Siege of Terra, you're SOL in terms of waiting for their rules specifically. And if they're gonna wait until they have like models to release with it, if it's 2 years per book, you're waiting a good amount of time to get your rules down. So I would prefer, not just because I haven't seen the rules or legions I'm interested in, it has nothing to do with it, because I don't know if I'm even gonna ever make a force of this stuff. But I would prefer the rules come out, like let's say instead of 3 years or 2.5 years, a year. Just get the books out so people can start making their forces and doing their stuff, and then they're gonna pick up the Primarch if they want their legion.
Well, now that they have 2 books out, they kind of, in a sense, have their standards up, so we may see the books come out quicker because they don't need to sit there and play test so much because they already know how these work in previous editions.
Right, and hopefully the speed will increase. I don't want them to cut corners, and I don't want them to water things down. Just like I don't want them to speed up the Primarchs come out, like let them sculpt it. You know, Ferrus Manus, either you're going to love him or you hate him the way he looks. He looks very true to how he should.
Which is one thing, maybe you can answer this question. It's a little confusing from what I heard. Ferrus has Forgebreaker.
Okay.
But if you do the campaign, he doesn't because Fulgrim stole it. I thought Fulgrim took it after he killed him.
What do you mean the campaign?
It says if you're doing the campaign in the book, which is the drop site massacre piece, they say he removed the Forgebreaker from his war gear because Fulgrim stole it at this point. But I thought Fulgrim stole it after he cut his head off.
I have to reread Fulgrim towards the end of it, because this is where it gets confusing. I don't want to drag this on too much longer, but this is where it gets confusing. Fulgrim and Ferrus Manus both made weapons that they gifted to each other.
Yeah.
So the sword was made by
Fulgrim, by Ferrus.
Ferrus, and the hammer was made by Fulgrim, and they kind of gifted it to each other.
Yeah.
Then I don't know. It got confusing. I forget what happens because in the book, not to spoiler alert, but not really because the book's been out forever. Fulgrim tries to convert Ferrus Manus. It fails. So what Fulgrim does is kind of like a cheap shot on Ferrus Manus, and then takes a weapon back. I forget which weapon he takes back. I forget how it works exactly because it
must have been Forgebreaker.
It might have been. I don't remember because they end up fighting each other with the weapons again. But I forget who has who weapon at this point. It gets confusing.
Yeah. Well, I know that he uses the demon weapon on him when he killed him.
Right.
But like that was just the one confusing part. I always thought that he had Forgebreaker, he killed him, then he took Forgebreaker, gave it to Horus, and then Horus gave it to Patarbo. But that couldn't have been the case because Patarbo got Forgebreaker from Horus, and he was there, and he betrayed everybody during the whole thing. So he must have had it prior to the massacre.
Yeah, I forget it.
It's confusing.
It gets confusing a little bit, especially because I haven't read Fulgrim in years. But they sculpted him with it.
Yeah,
I mean, they sculpted him with a diorama of fighting against Fulgrim.
Yeah,
so you should have
but I think that was just so when you're in games that don't involve that particular event, you can have Forgebreaker. But for that specific campaign that's listed in the book, he doesn't have it.
Right. Okay, that's a little weird, but I honestly don't remember. And I think I guess he doesn't have rules for his living metal arms because that's the one thing. Now, fans basically made that kind of Strike Knight Coast combat weapons, which is awesome because he's got living metal arms. What would you? Yeah. I mean, but and now he's dead in the series. But when you did read about him, it's kind of like he's got living metal arms. And then if you look over here to your right, I would be like, whoa, back it up a minute. What do you mean he's got living metal arms? Like you can't just gloss over that like it's normal. Let's talk about that. because that's how he'll take that and forge with his bare hands because of that. But it's just like, oh yeah, he's got living metal arms, no big thing. Moving on. I want to be like, no, let's back it up and talk about that. Nobody seems to want to talk about that.
I think he does have some special rule in relation to the fact that he has metal arms.
Okay, because if they don't do that, I want to be like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I don't own the book yet. Hopefully I can change that this Christmas.
Yeah.
But I think he actually has a rule. Like, it's either a rule, he's a special rule or something, but I think he has something that involves the fact that he has metal arms.
Okay, because, like, every time you hear about him, and they have a forge roll, you see him painted with his living metal arms. Yep. And it's kind of like, we're going to get any information. I mean, like, there's theories on why he has it, but I want to know, does it do anything aside from being metallic? Like, can you not pass through metal detectors? What's up? But and that's the one thing. Also,
does the auto-panically pen tanks?
Right. He now he makes a bit more sense because he has his living metal stuff. But I never was a fan of Primarchs wearing armor but having their arms or part of them exposed. That's one thing I don't like about Angron. Like, his arms are exposed. And that's the thing I don't like about Magnus the Red, even though he's a giant. Like, he just wears a breastplate, and, like, his shoulders and arms are exposed.
You can argue that he generates a psychic field around him.
Yeah, but he's a Primarch. He should wear awesomer things. He has ridiculous armor with gigantic horns for really no reason. I mean...
Yeah, the horns never made no sense.
But, like at least Sanguinus, he wears full armor. I mean, his head's exposed.
So does Fulgrim.
Yeah, Fulgrim wears full armor.
I think the Logar model, he's fully armored too. Everyone's complaining though because his breastplate makes it look like he has a belly, but that's just breastplate.
Yeah, it's just breastplate. But it's just, it's always a little peeve of mine. It's like, you're a demigod of the battlefield. You should be encased in walking demigod armor.
It's like Kron the Betrayer. Half his body is exposed, but he has a 2-up armor save.
Yeah, Kron has a whole left arm just exposed.
And yet he's got a 2-up armor save, and you can't say it's a psychic shield thing because Korn doesn't like psychics.
You know what it is? It's the pure anger. It just deflects bullets.
He just screams really loud, and the force of his scream slows your blow down.
It's a Karn, all right? It makes sense.
Like, that's the one thing, like, really, Magnus is the only person you can argue with that with. You can just argue, well, he's making a psychic energy field around him. You know, he's the only one that you can write that off as a wizard did it.
True, but at the very least, he should have, like, robes covering his arms, like something.
Yeah, we'll see what happens maybe, because the guy that did Fulgrim, Manus, and Angron is doing Russ and Magnus.
Now, I will say this. If Russ and Magnus don't have crazy 80s hair, I'm going to be sorely disappointed.
If the rumor, like, the guy says he's thinking about doing the combo face pattern like he did with Magnus and Fulgrim, and if he does, I might just have to buy both of them.
Yeah.
Because that's awesome epic battle.
It would be an awesome epic battle, but I'm telling you, if they don't have the awesome 80s hair that they have been portrayed in art with, yeah, if they don't have that, because they've been art, you know, when you look at the artwork of them, they clearly have 80s hair.
They do have crazy hair.
If they don't have the crazy hair, I'm gonna be sorely disappointed. And if the lion's hair, when they make the lion, it'd be cool if they gave him a helmeted and an unhelmeted version, like, because he's really the only one the others have been described as with what their helmet looks like. He's got a full-on helmet special rule in the Dark Angels Codex.
Yes, for anyone who is not aware, the helmet bearer, that helmet that the dude's holding that's following Azrael, that's the lion's helmet.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a
and that protected an invuln save.
Yeah. So I mean, it's got rules to it. I mean, I would like him to be a helmeted version, but he's probably going to be unhelmeted. Yeah. His hair has been described as like a lion's mane. A lion's mane. So if they don't do that either, a little bit disappointing. But but it's definitely Ferris and not Ferris. Definitely Lemon Russ and Magnus have to have the crazy 80s hair metal.
Well, from what I've been seeing, at least the one guy that's been doing a lot of models, he has been reading every piece of writing in every single art piece that he could find of each character before he does his designs. So I got good faith that we'll get what we're looking for.
Because Lehman Russ and Magnus have a good amount of artwork on them, all of it with the crazy metal hair. So crazy rocker hair. Nobody should complain if that's what they get, because they need that. That's where their power comes from.
It's a rule.
That's where their power comes from.
It's a rule. Yep, it's all their hair. It's like Samsonite. Or who was that guy?
Brock?
No, there was a mythical dude who had super strength, but once he got his head shaved, he lost it all.
I forgot.
But either way, we are out of time right now.
Yes, we are.
So, let us know what you guys think of the new Inquisition Codex, what you guys would like to see in the new Tyranids and Imperial Guard codexes, because Tyranids are rumored to be coming out next.
Yes, get your camera right out.
Yep, yes, that's what should be in the new Imperial Guard Codex, just a giant spray can on legs. Just great. Sprays bug spray, it only affects Tyranids. And let us think what you think about the different console systems going on and all that stuff.
Yes. And water levels.
Yes, water levels. What you think of them. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Do you live without them, or do you tolerate them?
Yes.
So, until next time, Fearless Gamers, thank you all for watching, and until next time, this is Matt the Vet.
James the Wildcard.
Saying take care.
Peace.